Do you ever wonder where money comes from? Well, in this video I'm going to show you how money is created and how the banking system actually works. Welcome to the Peak Performance channel, the place where you come to be inspired to create a more prosperous future. We use money every day. It's one of our biggest burdens and sometimes the root of our greatest happiness. But love it or hate it, money is essential for survival. But have you ever paused to think about where it comes from? How does the currency get made and who decides how much gets produced? Well, you've come to the perfect spot because that's exactly what we'll be talking about today. But before we go any further, make sure you hit that like button, smash the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you won't miss a single video. Also be sure to watch our other videos as well. Although there are some differences, most countries operate their finances in a similar way. Today we'll focus on the specifics in the United States of America. The Central Bank of the United States is known as the Federal Reserve. Central banks are unique because they control the production and distribution of money and credit in their respective countries. The Oversight Committee meets regularly to discuss the economic needs of the country. They assess whether or not money needs to be added to the economy. And this is where things can start to get confusing. A lot of people wonder if there is a big money-making machine. Why can't a bunch more money just be printed and passed around? Well, the answer can get a little complicated. First of all, if there was to be too much money in circulation, the value of it would go down and prices would go up very quickly. In addition to this, most of the money that is circulated between the Federal Reserve and banks is digital. They don't create physical cash until they loan it out. Although it may not appear this way, this credit-based money known as treasuries has the same impact as physical currency does and affects the economy in the same way. As I said earlier, nowadays most of the money in circulation is digital. When you get paid, for instance, you usually receive a direct deposit into your bank account. Even though you can see the number in your account and use it whenever you want, that amount is essentially just an IOU from the bank to you. And in that way, banks can move money without a stockpile of actual bills. When a bank gives out a loan, they're essentially creating new money by adding the amount of the loan to the borrower's account. This process is called fractional reserve banking. It's fractional because the reserves, that's the amount of cash the bank keeps on hand, are a fraction of the total loans made by the bank. The truth is, most of the money in our economy comes from loans, and while this can be beneficial, it can also get out of hand quickly and have disastrous consequences, like what happened during the 2008 market crash that left millions homeless. The high number of loans is also why we see such high home prices today. Remember how the more money that's added to the economy, the higher the prices go. And if you're curious why you can't manage to purchase a house when your parents could at half your income, it's because banks loan too much money each year. In fact, they add more than 10% additional cash to the economy annually. Now, while this system may seem like it could lead to inflation, too much money chasing too few goods, in reality, it doesn't, because banks are very cautious about lending money and will only lend if they're confident that the borrower will be able to repay the loan. Additionally, the Federal Reserve can help to regulate the supply of money by raising or lowering interest rates. And when interest rates are low, banks are more likely to lend. And when interest rates are high, banks are less likely to lend. By carefully manipulating interest rates, the Fed can help to keep inflation in check. So I know that some of what we've talked about so far might be a little stressful, but let's switch gears and have a little fun. Did you ever wonder how physical money is actually produced? Well, stick with us to find out. Money printing requires 3 stages that have been refined throughout time. The first step is to use a lithographic KBE simultan press which can print 8 distinct colours on each side. It is a huge machine that reaches 12 feet in height. 32 sheets of banknotes are produced at a speed of 10,000 sheets per hour. And after the sheets have been printed, they must be kept for 3 days to allow them to dry completely before proceeding to the next stage, which is the intaglio process. This means that the notes are engraved with precise patterns to prevent fraud. Now, this procedure was previously done using hand-engraved plates, but it's now entirely digital. There are 2 intaglio presses in the United States, one with a direct linking system and one with an indirect linking system. The back of the banknote is engraved with the image first, followed by the front side, which has a 3-dimensional feature called a rumble strip. After these steps have been completed, the notes are put through the currency overprinting processing equipment. This press adds serial numbers and seals to each banknote. After this, the sheets are cut into individual notes and packed for transportation. And after these 3 stages are finished, the notes are officially a legal currency. They're packed in 4 distinct ways: bundles of 1,000 notes, bricks of 4,000 notes, and cash packs of 16,000 notes, and then palletized on skids with 640,000 notes. But regardless of how the notes are packaged, they're all protected by layers of security such as plastic wrap and specific barcodes that cannot be removed until they reach their destination. The packages of banknotes remain at the Federal Reserve until they can be transported in heavily armoured vehicles. Each note has to be approved and scanned for any imperfections by the Bureau's currency inspection system before it's packaged for circulation. By ensuring that every bill meets inspection standards, we can trust that the economy is being circulated with high-quality bills. Bills do break down with frequent use, so when that happens, a bill is taken out of circulation and sent back to the Federal Reserve. There it's destroyed and replaced with a new, fresh banknote. And if you've ever received damaged money, take it to the bank and have it replaced. Some businesses won't accept damaged money, so it should be taken out of circulation. The last thing we'll discuss today is another really interesting topic. Who decides who gets to go on our money? Stay with us and we'll talk about that as well. But first, here's a quick reminder before we continue. Make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications if you haven't already done so, as it means that YouTube sends you more of these kinds of videos, and of course it helps our channel as well. Now, let's get back to the video. Most US citizens are aware that American currency is largely made up of faces of past presidents. But how did this tradition even begin? This practice of printing images on currency began in Lydia, which is now modern-day Turkey. They produced a coin with a lion's head on it, which inspired imitations in ancient Greece to create coins with images of their gods and goddesses on them. And this tradition has been passed down through decades, with countries portraying historical figures, gods and animals on their coins and banknotes. Today, the Department of Treasury is the organisation that officially chooses who appears on banknotes. However, the selection must be submitted and authorised by Congress, and there's generally a long battle to determine who deserves the prestigious position. Although people have been clamouring for it, there hasn't been any real change to currency in a long time. Although the majority of Americans wanted Harriet Tubman to replace Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill in 2020, Donald Trump shot down the proposal. However, the design has been in the works for some years, and perhaps we'll see the bill eventually. Because at the moment there are no women shown on any US currency, and every man is white, many of whom owned slaves. And it's a painful reminder of the daily atrocities committed against black people in America. However, it is important to note that no living person's image can be used on a banknote, so keep that in mind if you have any suggestions. So, there you have it, a brief overview of how money is created and used in the United States. Again, most countries follow a similar procedure, but each has its own set of laws and regulations. So did this video help you understand money better? If so, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again for our next video. Thank you for being all ears throughout the entire video, to create his effort, to copy his genius, Albert Einstein. And if you want to expand your income by building an online income, well, feel free to contact me so we'll get things moving right away. Remember, if you want to change your life, well, let's make a change together. You need to make a change.